All right, you guys. So this is our seventh class. We've surpassed the halfway point. So we've done a lot of bookkeeping and budgeting, and now we have all this data. And I want to make sure that we utilize this data to meet your individual goals. All right. So I have a PowerPoint to share with you, and we'll just go through it and let it direct this class. So let me pull that up. All right, let's see. Screen. This one. I think I'm sharing the right one with you guys. All right, so like we start every class, let's begin with one win, one challenge, and one word of encouragement.
Well, I can jump in. I haven't been here in 2 weeks, so I'm so sorry. And also my win is that when Jason and I went through our budget, I guess 3 weeks ago, we realized that we definitely needed to make some changes, that we were spending more than we needed to be spending to meet our financial goals and to not go backwards. And so over the past 3 weeks, I have been canceling and readjusting things, and it has not been very fun because the things that I have needed to cancel have been things that make my life easier. And yet, not having money the way I want to is not also making my life any easier either. So I think that's both a win and a challenge, that like I was able to cut things that we saw, like I had 2 Disney Plus accounts. Why? How? I have no idea. Why was I paying $11? That happened to you too, Jasmine? What in the world? Like I have no concept of how this happened. So those were easy, right? And I could get some money back that way. But then like cutting my house cleaner down, like that one really hurt bad. I didn't love that one.
Understood. I can relate to that. Yes.
On the same lines, we went and negotiated with our kind of the school that our kids go to that's really been hurting us. Fantastic school, but from a budget standpoint, very challenging. And we got that cut down half of what it was. And they are working with us for this year and very thankful for that. So that's been a positive win.
Oh my gosh. Very, very positive. Thank you for sharing.
I'll go next. So I will say a win. Definitely agree with what you said, Mary Kate, about recognizing, okay, wait a minute. What are some areas where I can cut down or eliminate completely? I realized as I went through my closet this past weekend that the amount of money that I spent in clothes, it makes no sense because I don't even wear some of them, and some of them I hate. And I'm challenging myself to not purchase another item of clothing this year because I don't need it. And it's just ridiculous, but this is a separate problem, right? And so a challenge has been, I've been inputting my numbers and they're not balancing out. So that's been my biggest challenge, having to go back through different pieces.
Understood. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Understood. That may be a technical part on my side, so I can make sure that your sheets are doing what they need to do. So we'll take a look at that in detail.
Sure. I definitely don't think it's you. It's a me thing most likely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
Okay, so one win and challenge, I think they're the same. They're both going to be the same. The win is investing the time into this. Yes. You feel it once you're actually putting the time into it. You see the benefits kind of like almost right away. Some things are very simple, like deleting finding out you have an extra account for some. Actually, I think I know how that happened, how they have those free trials. Yeah, I think I signed up twice for that. So then you keep on paying. I found, okay. So that's the win. And then the challenge is also, it's, looking for that time, making sure, making it a priority. That's the challenge. Word of encouragement, keep trying to make it a priority because it makes, you don't think about it, but it makes a big difference, your money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, you guys, for the feedback. Sounds good. All right. So today's lesson, we are going to keep continuing with analyzing and tweaking our budget template. All right. So we have 2 tabs there. It's the budget side, and then the second half of the year where we have the actual. So we're going to look at those numbers and see what we can do to get your bookkeeping over to your budget template. So we can look at that second tab and actually see where we are and where we need to be. And then we'll also talk about various ways to achieve your goals. Jason mentioned a couple things, as did Mary Kate, different ways to get you there, cutting your expenses or speaking with your vendors and seeing if you can achieve better terms. So there are many different ways to ensure that we are meeting our goals. All right, so let's do a recap. Let's make sure that your bookkeeping template is what it needs to be, both for the business and for you personally. I want to make sure you guys have finished categorizing your expenses and determine what's necessary versus optional, and what's planned versus unplanned, and knowing that we can use estimates if we need to put those in, okay? And then, of course, we're going to review that budget template. So how's it going with the bookkeeping side? Everyone feel comfortable enough to use that information? All right.
Once I make sure everything balances out, I think it'll be fine just to input everything. But I don't want to have incorrect numbers right now. So I'm going to bring it on Thursday, hopefully, to resolve that piece, because it won't be helpful if I don't have things balanced out. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Would you be comfortable if I pulled yours up, or do you want to save it to Thursday?
Please save it. Please save it until Thursday. Thank you.
I definitely will. I did some work on your
Okay.
template, on your budget template, your actual versus
Okay.
The other side, the second tab. So you see some changes in there when you go in.
Okay. Sure. And I'm making changes to it now, so hopefully I didn't change anything, but okay.
Okay.
And if you want to pull it up, I'm okay. It is just a hot mess right now, and I'm a little embarrassed for people to see
Yes, ma'am.
how much I spent.
Oh,
That's the part. But I mean, I'm okay if it will be helpful to get it in order, or I can wait until Thursday. But I'm embarrassed. That's all I have to say right now. Yeah.
It's a safe space. It's absolutely a safe space. No judgment. We're all here to learn and grow. But with that in mind, I'll stay away from your numbers and maybe just share the format.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
That's fine.
All right, you guys. So with here, if you could go ahead and open your budget template. It should be in Classroom 4. Classroom 4 materials. And then let's open that up and take a look at the template for actual versus budget. And I'll pull it up too. Again, I already have Shalandra's up, so let me quickly go to it.
Now, I haven't input any numbers into the budget template for personal because my numbers weren't balancing out in the, what is this one called? The bookkeeping template. That's the one that I was referring to. So I didn't pull those numbers over yet.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. Yes.
And like she's saying, that is essential. So
Mhm.
that would mean, let's go back one more.
So I have everything in the bookkeeping template, but I'm having to go back to, so I have most of the tabs, they're good, but there's one tab where some pieces aren't, again, they're not balancing out. So I'm not sure what I'm missing. So I have to go through those again, but everything else in that one's correct, but I haven't put any in the budget template.
Okay. How about you, Jasmine? How is your bookkeeping on your end?
I mean, the business template, you know, it's there, the bookkeeping one. The personal, I mean, I've still had to, all I finished doing honestly was fixing the categories, fixing out what it was that I needed, what was that I spent on. So I have those, it's there, just the numbers aren't all there. It's that's for the bookkeeping. And then I realized I was just really fixing categories. From there, I also, from the budgeting, I saw where I needed to make those changes, like in my on my bank statements. I'll, you know, if I go to, for example, Walmart, you know, I'll buy everything, you know, I'll buy for the house, I'll buy for ourselves, I'll buy, you know, just, it's so many categories in one. And so it's hard to, so I'm putting that separately from, you know, on the bookkeeping, it'll say, you know, miscellaneous personal shopping, which is just, it just encompasses like a lot, like a shopping trip. And our budget, I'm putting it, you know, I'm separating the items, you know, for housekeeping, house cleaning versus, you know, buying shoes and clothes and grooming and stuff. So that's what I've done.
Okay. And that's
So
what needs to
Jasmine-
happen as well. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was going to comment on what Jasmine was saying. That is what probably took me the longest in the bookkeeping template. And what I've been doing for probably the past few weeks now, when I make, say, like a Target order, I will purchase, okay, these are the like the pet food. Then I will go back and make a separate purchase. Okay, this is like, you know, household items, that sort of thing. And they don't mind if you do it that way, because otherwise I spend hours going through and separating everything out. So the past few weeks I've just done it that way. So, okay, cool. That's what that is. So that's been helpful. I don't know if that might be helpful going forward for you.
Sounds great. Thanks for sharing. So it's like multiple orders from the same store, and each order is already categorized. So when you're looking at
Right.
that receipt, you already know the total per
Mhm.
category, and you're aware of your categories.
Right. And I think I need to get rid of my pets is what I've learned.
They're not gonna like that. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. Any other words of advice like that? That was very, I want to say wisdomish. That's a great
I've been
point.
writing it both on the receipt. So like if I do a Target one, they will categorize it for you on the receipt. And so like I'll just put that receipt at my desk because this is where I do my bookkeeping because it's where the monitor is. And so I'll do it that way. The other thing I've been doing is like I went back through, we do a lot of Amazon purchases or like we do a ton of online purchases. And so those were actually a lot easier for me to go through because I could see exactly what I like went and did it on. And so I was trying to think about like how to make it sustainable moving forward. It was such a huge commitment, like you said, Jasmine, to go through and do the 6 months worth of bookkeeping. But now that that's done, like it doesn't feel like doing July. I'm like, oh, I actually need to go finish July. I think it'll take me less than an hour to do, you know, all of July. And that's significantly easier. Like I can just get my favorite desserts and my favorite bubbly drink and sit right here for an hour and do it, you know, then like 6 months worth was a whole lot. And so I think that is helpful, just pondering moving forward. It's not such an undertaking now.
Good. Really good to know. Anything else you guys would like to share? Well, thank you for sharing what you have. I hope you guys found that information useful. I definitely did. It's really good. Okay, so like Shalandra was saying, the bookkeeping template must match. So we want to make sure that all of our columns and expenses match. And then you grab that total column from the combined tab for everything. And that's the number that you're putting over onto the bookkeeping, the budgeting template. So let's see. I do have Shalandra's pulled up, but I will.
One thing, Sandra.
Yes,
Oh, I'm
yes.
sorry. I don't want to cut you off. I was going to say, when you mentioned the combined, that was the piece too. The combined is only pulling over 2 of the tabs versus all of them. So that was another issue. So I didn't have any accurate numbers to bring over. That was the major one. And then I just need to go back. There are 2 columns in my, the first one that I need to, somehow they're not matching up.
Okay, I can definitely help you with that. It's just a matter of making sure all the rows are the same on each tab, including the combined one. And then, like you mentioned, we need to update those formulas to grab that same number for every single tab. And
Right.
we can take a look at that and see what's going on.
Mhm.
No worries.
Is anyone on the budget page yet? Mary, Kate, or Jasmine?
I know Zade is. But
Okay.
she couldn't attend today.
I was like, I don't know how far I'm like falling behind. That's what I was trying to see. Okay.
Yeah, we moved it over, but I think something, I just actually, Jason and I are in 2 separate rooms of the house. There seems to be part of our budgeting, the income. No, it's actually all of it. Or maybe I just don't understand it, actually. The budgeting template all has the same number for every single month. And maybe that's because that is how it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that
It's
right?
Forecasting what's expected. Yeah, it's right.
Maybe I just don't understand budgeting. Good thing I'm in class.
Well,
Oh,
so
so
saying
that-
what we can expect to come in each month on average.
Exactly.
Oh, so I'm supposed to just see a whole bunch of the same numbers?
Yes.
In the cash available section, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Budgeting.
So what we did, let me go back to the beginning of the process because we're right slap dab in the middle. What we did in the beginning, we was like, okay, let's take 6 months of actual data, what really, really happened, and see what those expenses and income items are on a monthly basis on average, like Jason said. So the first thing we had to do was determine what the activity was for those 6 months. That's the December through May, where you guys went and did your bookkeeping and got those totals.
Yes. Okay, so then it looks like, but it's still budgeting. I mean, I'm sorry. It's still averaging out from January until June. Is that right? That's what it was supposed to do? Because that's what I'm seeing.
Oh, the 7-month thing?
I'm seeing January through June of 2023 on the budgeting template.
Okay.
Is that right?
I think it's January through May.
We added June.
Oh, we added June. Okay.
So it's
Well-
a 6-month total.
Oh, good point. So let me pull this over really quickly so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So we have December through May. That's the 6 months that we're looking at. But when you are looking at the bookkeeping template, it goes through June. That's what you're saying? It should be what you're saying. Because when we get to the combined account, this total that we're needing for the first step that we're going to use is going to be just these months.
Yeah, we kept it to 6 months, but we didn't do December. So we have January through June, and we still have the 6-month average like we're supposed to. But in the budget versus actual tab on the budget template, we haven't put any work there. So I think what we need to do is add the June expenses that we have already added. We need to add that to the budget versus actual, Mary Kate. I think we're fine. I don't think we're really way off.
Right. We did collect 7 months of data, but that June data would be the first comparison month that we could do on the template.
Yeah.
Let me that was the first one. Let me get that window back open. The budget template. So once we let's see. Once we go here, that's when we start actually comparing, I think. So the June information that you have in bookkeeping, first of all, the budget is going to be those numbers that don't change. So like for this particular case, it was income of $78.65 per month. And so we put in the budget, which is going to be the same number for every month going forward. Then since we have the June data available, we can go ahead and put that in and determine what it was. And that's coming from the total on the bookkeeping sheet. You guys follow my halfway spreadsheets?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So-
that makes sense to me now.
Yeah, then we go and grab that and know the total income, which is up here for June, which she already said we need to fix her number so she can have that total, but that's what we would grab because that's actual. So we already have the information, the data available to input your budget versus actual for June, and then July's ended. So we can also look at July as well and see how things are going. We have that at our disposal right now. So that's this tab right here, this budget versus actual is what I'm so antsy to see. So I want to make sure everyone's on the same page here. And as you guys were speaking and me realizing that we're still on the bookkeeping template, I would really like to meet you on Thursday. It seems like 30 minutes is not going to be enough. So maybe 60 or 90, something like that. So I can fit as many in as possible, even if it has to go over into Friday, so that everyone can achieve this and actually analyze these numbers. And we can keep moving forward. How's that sound?
So I have a question for the information that was input on the budget January through May for business expenses.
Yes.
Is that so? All of these are the same already. Will they still be the same for, say, June, or different numbers?
Okay. Now, when you say the same, what do you
Mhm.
mean?
Okay, so on the budget January through May, everything is the same.
So
For
what
December, January, all of them have the same exact number. So I'm wondering, does that continue across the board, or that's just based on, oh, you know what? Never mind. I think I answered my question. It's based on 6 months. So then it's, I don't know. Maybe that's not right.
No, I need you guys to understand these numbers as good as I do.
Okay. See what I mean? How everything is the same, but going forward, I'm trying to see how they would be different. That's what maybe I'm not following.
It's okay. Let's go back. So
Mhm.
we're doing this right here is a budget.
Right.
It's different from the bookkeeping. The bookkeeping is actual. So we took your actual data,
Okay.
totaled it up,
Mhm.
and divided it over the time frame.
Mhm.
So for instance, if you're looking at this 497.50, or
Mhm.
an even better one, the 179.20, 29.95 seems like what you actually spent each month. Like that particular
Right.
expense didn't fluctuate. But when you go to a different line, these items are fluctuating from month to month. But on average, you spend
Okay.
$68 a month in this category.
Okay.
That's the budget. We're just setting that average amount that you have actually spent in that category in reality. So
Okay.
we're just establishing that baseline for your budget.
Okay. So then on the second tab, we would take that number for the budget, but then whatever it actually is, that's what goes in that second column beside it.
Absolutely. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So if you're
Okay.
anticipating 78 in income and you actually make 10,000, great, you're over budget. That's what you want. But if you're
Mhm.
anticipating 7,800 and you only bring in 5,000, then you'll be under budget and you say, okay, I didn't make my numbers. What can I change? Or things of that nature. The same
Okay.
thing with the expenses.
Okay, that makes sense.
So this is just an average here that we determine based on your real life spending. Okay. And then we go to the second tab. Let me pull it up. The budget and action tab. You're going to see that same amount. And again, we're going to actually put in what truly came in. And then you'll see the difference and how that, that's actual income. This is just so you can know how you're doing in your spending and your income generating items.
Okay, that I got it. Okay.
Sounds good.
I'm just not, when it comes to numbers, I'm like, I don't know why I'm losing my mind like this, but okay, I got it now.
No worries. And if you
Mhm.
still have other questions, just ask me because someone else may have the same question as well.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Where do we, so, okay, if we know that something's going to be changing in our budget, like we already know that, like, again, like what Jason said, our kids' school is going to be, it's going to cost different than what is reflected on our budget because what we are anticipating was from last school years, and now this school year we already know we have a different amount. So we're going to be off every single month. How do we do that?
Exactly. That's where we would not use what's actually happened, but we would put in that estimate where I was speaking about splitting items and putting estimates. So that's what we would use because that's what it's going to be.
Okay, so if we know that something's going to be different, if we know we have, say we pay a yearly fee for something, like every August I have to pay registration fees. That's not part of my monthly stuff, but I already know those are going to have to come out in August. I would manually adjust what's the word? Hold on. Gotta get, budget. I would see, Shalonda, you're not the only one. I'm going to manually adjust the number in the budget. So I won't use the one that I copied and pasted into there. I'm going to change it from 600 to 1,000 or whatever.
Sounds good. So yes, absolutely. But that wouldn't happen here. That would still be on the first tab. Let me go back to it.
Oh,
Yes. So the numbers that come across here from this 6-month total came from bookkeeping of actual activity.
yes.
But here is where you can add rows to make sure that your budget is fitting your needs. Right.
Where am I adding rows?
All right. It would depend. If
Okay.
you anticipate additional income coming in, we
Uh-huh.
would add the additional income here.
Okay.
Or if you anticipate additional expenses, we'll add them here. And
So those are past
Yes.
numbers though. Those are previous 6-month numbers.
as a starting point, correct.
So if I'm looking at future months, where am I making that adjustment? Like if I'm projecting, I'm going to need, and like this, instead of being $600 is going to be $1,000. Where am I making that adjustment?
Okay. Add the column here. And again, you're not putting in any numbers in these categories. That's
Okay.
just coming across. What we're going to do is use the 6-month total column to enter our numbers and let them split it.
Oh,
All
But
right, so I think I've added ours correctly, Mary Kate. I think we have it now. The budget versus actual, June through December. I think I've got it updated properly. At least the budget versus actual for June.
okay.
should
And
I
then the
pull it up?
difference.
Yeah, you're welcome to. Go for it.
What'd you say? Want me to pull it up?
She's gonna pull it up.
Oh,
Or
boy.
he could, either one.
You can. It's fine.
Okay.
No judgment, you guys.
Judgment zone, judgment free.
You're welcome to send us some money though, if you like.
Cash App
Taking
Venmo.
donations.
So which template am I looking at? The budgeting?
All right, so budget template 23, traditional. Yeah, I see there. And then budget versus actual.
Now, am I sharing the right screen? You guys can see it?
Yeah, go to the next tab,
Okay.
budget versus actual. Scroll down.
Yes.
All right, so we
Yes.
have all the categories there. I pasted that from the budget sheet on the other tab from June. They're all pretty much the same. And then the actual I got from the combined sheet.
Yes.
Pasted that in there for what we actually spent in June. We need to do the same for July, but this is the June look.
Yes. So what we
There's
have
a lot of
is,
things that are in the red, right? That are in the parentheses. That's bad.
Well, no, it's actually it's from high low. It's just to look at the biggest spend areas to start understanding it a little bit better. So the red means it's just a high spend category. It doesn't mean it's bad necessarily. It is bad, but
but the difference here tells the
yeah,
story.
different. Yeah, the difference tells the story. The credit card one is it's quite misleading because we use that for different things. That's a circumstantial spend. It's not
Okay.
like the monthly payment. So like if I bought a car, earlier in the year on my credit card, right? So that would be a major spend that month, but it's not. So that kind of skews the average.
Mhm.
But yes, that one's a little bit of an outlier.
And that's exactly true. That's perfectly true. So if you remove that outlier and then take a new average, because you have all that inside information, then
Yeah.
the number that you recommend is what we should use as your budget and not that skewed number because of that large purchase.
Yeah, so we like the minimum payment's like 500 or less, most months. But if I buy something on there to get the points or something, right, then that's kind of where that comes in. Now, yeah.
Sounds good.
So is there anything in particular you wanted to look at for this?
No, not in particular. I like the fact that it's filled in, and I wanted to make the reference back to the budgeting sheet to where you got the budgeting column.
Yeah.
So see how all these numbers are the same as you go
Right.
across because he just put in the totals. Oh, let me get to it. The totals. Oh, he has a lot of information. But the 6-month total, and then it just divides it out. And that's where we get the same number month after month. And then that is what's used here.
Yeah, I just copied that June column. If you go back to the other tab,
Okay.
budget planning tab.
Sorry. I'm working with 3 monitors.
There we go.
Yes.
So column I just copied that and pasted values only because it's got all kinds of formulas in there. I just pasted values only into the budget versus actual sheet for June. I think our activity moving forward, Mary Kate, is we'll go to our combined sheet and we'll add July for all of our accounts, do the same bookkeeping entry across all the accounts. That will then show up in combined. And then it's pretty simple, actually. I think it's just copying what happened in July as the actual. And then we've already got our budget
Established. Yes.
established. We need to make changes to it, but
Right.
just to document what's happening, I think that's pretty straightforward now.
Yes.
I do not know how to change. We have to make major changes. So Sandra, I need your help on that.
I
All
can
your-
definitely help you on
all-
that. I'm so glad you had this here so that we could share it. That's the visual I was seeking.
Great.
All right. Thank you. Any questions on that lovely tidbit? It's amazing. Shalandra, did seeing that visual give you more clarity on the flow of the process?
Yes, it does. I'm filling in some categories on my next sheet, but that's helpful to know once we take the number from the budget and then the actual it makes sense to me now as far as what we're doing, because before I was like, why are all these the same? But okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, Jason.
Mhm.
All right. So let me go to the next slide. Well, let me stay here for a second. As you're doing this bookkeeping, remember we have to make changes somewhere. So keep in mind, or just be considering what's necessary versus optional. And then, of course, when you're planning, when you're putting all your expenses in, consider the ones that are planned versus unplanned, even if they haven't happened yet. Like Mary Kate says, she knows she has some expenses that she sees annually that aren't reflected in the 6 months that we're reviewing. All right. Because we want everything to be there, that you're accounting for everything, whether it happens this month or within the next 12 months, because it's going to happen and it's going to cost money. All right. So this is what we were just doing, entering your actual data into your budget template. We had you guys open the document. Want to make sure that your row labels match your budget, the January through May tab, and then enter in your bookkeeping items for June. Again, you've already captured the June data. We just went through that. You saw it. And then enter those totals into the actual column on the budget template. And then analyze it. How's it looking? How is it looking? And so as we saw with Jason's, that difference column shows you how things are looking. But before we even get here, when we're on that budget tab, the very first tab, like I mentioned in the last class, you guys can go and watch that video if you hadn't already. But on that budget template, we want to make sure that you're in the black and you're not in the red. Because if we're working with numbers where you're over budget and over budget, this analysis is not going to do anything for you because we're not out of the red and into the black. So let's make sure that on that first tab, you're in the black by including all your expenses. And then, we'll go through and see what's going on. So when you're in the black and you're budgeting for items to be within your income limit, and then you come across and you put in actual and you see that difference is showing you that you're not within your limit. That shows you the areas that you need to change because you haven't budgeted for those expenses. So putting money in that bucket is taking money from another location. That makes sense? All right, so we're going to make sure that we know how our numbers are looking. All right, so your budget template. Are you in the red or in the black? If you're in the red, how do you get into the black? What goals need to be added and budgeted for? Sorry, there's a lot of repeating, isn't it? Does your trajectory need any further adjustment? And what other steps must we take to ensure these numbers are ready to be used for your budgetary goals? Okay, various ways to reach your goals. I have a list here, but you guys have already mentioned items that are very useful that aren't included here. So this list is not all inclusive. But there are debt consolidation options. If you have multiple credit card payments and you want to consolidate those so that you have a lower monthly cash flow obligation to go out, that's an option. Or restructuring your debt, increasing your income, minimizing your expenses, and this is business and personal, or maximizing your income by leveraging your expenses. Does anybody know what that means?
No idea what that means.
Okay. Like if you're in business and maybe you hire a subcontractor, they'll generate income for you. I'm not sure what the rate would be, but take a look at adding someone else and seeing if after you add this person to your staff and pay them their salary, if they generate income, not only to cover their salary, but to bring more revenue to your business.
I'm looking at this right now for a social media marketer.
Absolutely.
I think that's, that's interesting.
That's a perfect example because that's going to give you the advertising. Of course, you're going to pay them, but The
Yeah, if they
whole-
bring in more business than I'm going to pay them, then that's like a no-brainer.
Exactly. So not necessarily minimizing all your expenses, but maximizing your income by leveraging your expenses. Good.
Hmm.
Learning to
How do
say
you do debt restructuring? And what if your credit's not great?
Hmm. I'm sure there are companies out there, but I would have to research that and let you know.
Okay.
We can come up with a scenario. All right. And then, of course, learning to say no. Make sure we say no. And sticking to your plan. Once you know what your plan is, it'll be easier for you to stick to it. And that's what we're doing, developing the plan. Telling your money how it's going to be spent. Any other? Yes.
I'm sorry. I do have a question that probably is a no-brainer, but it's not for me. All right. So on some of these, we are in the black, which is good, what we want to be. Some of these, we even have a little extra in that budgeting column. But that's because our budget is looking at the whole year. And so say we spend, like, for example, on our au pair, we spend, roughly $900 a month on our au pair. But when we're going to look at it, it's going to show us that our budget is for like $1,800 a month. And that's because we have that once a year 10 grand payment that we have to put out. So it's not like, oh, hey, we did so great. We only paid her $900 a month. It's like, no, we actually have to take that other $900 and we have to put it somewhere. What happens with that money that we don't actually spend that month? Because, let me be serious. I'm just going to re-spend that money somewhere else in another category. I'm supposed to take that $900 that I didn't spend in the au pair that month because I'm going to need to spend it in a few other months on something else. Or like my car payment. I only pay my car payment every other month.
Oh.
But my budget is going to show me, and that's just how they do it. But my budget's going to show me that it's going to break it down, right, for every single month. But that's just so that the next month, when it's actually due, I have the $300 to then pull from July to pay in August. Am I making sense? Where am I putting this money? Since I'm not,
that junk under a rock.
can I give it to you?
You're giving it to Sandra moving forward.
Let me
yeah.
stay out of it.
Nah, Sandra,
Bring
you
it
didn't
on,
know that
guys.
money.
Bring it on.
Where does the money go?
I have a suggestion. So your budget needs to be more customized. What we're doing is a standardized month-to-month budget. We already encounter annual expenses that aren't going to be reflected there. So with your budget, first of all, I would make it 12 months instead of 6 months. We just got a starting point with the 6 months. That's what we did. But if you already know, okay, if I look at it for a whole year, it's going to be 900, 10,000. That's what you budget for. That's what needs to happen. Altogether, your au pair is going to remain the same. It's going to be the same cost, but so that you're not thinking, oh, I have extra. That's another option, is to change it, to customize that budget to fit your needs.
Yeah,
Is
you're
there
giving it
something-
to Sandra.
I'm sorry.
We're just gonna go ahead and give you that money so you can do something with it.
I'll take care of it. Bring it on, guys. Bring it on. And then with the car payment, month after month, it alternates months. So it wouldn't be reflected on the month that is not there, but the next month you're going to be needing an additional 600. But if you're looking at that over the course of the whole year anyways, month by month, you're going to see, oh, my monetary need is 600 and then 0, then 600 and 0, and you want to make sure it's there. If you did the 300 per month, you would have an excess and then an underage, and then an excess and then an underage, but it's still going to net out to 0. But there are multiple ways to do it. If you want to see it where it's 600 every other month, we can do that. So when you're looking at the budget for that month, you know your monetary need. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned is cash available, because you have a starting balance that could help you with any fluctuations. And then also the budget will show you your cash that should be remaining available that could help you with those fluctuations as well. There are different ways to do it.
So, okay, and I guess we could talk about this more on Thursday, but I guess my question is, we so far have done bookkeeping from January until June, and I'll input July today.
Okay.
So that gives us 7 months, but we have not done 12 months. If we're like, would it be better for me to go back and add on the last, like the 3 months from last year so that we have 12 whole months, or?
I do not recommend that.
Oh, good, because I don't want to do that. That sounds like a lot of work.
I do not want to recommend that. The 6 months that we have, once you go to that first tab on the budget template, make sure you add in any expenses that you're not seeing that you had over that past 6 months. Add those items in because that's truly going to happen. So add in those items. And then when we do your budget versus actual, we can extend that for a 12-month period so you can see everything.
Okay.
That's what we can do.
Okay.
If you wanted to go back and just scan your bank statements or something for an expense that is recurring that you may have not thought about, maybe that's how those prior items could help you. But as far as entering the bookkeeping for that, no, ma'am. But going forward, yes. Like you said, you're going to do July. This will be a continuing, task going forward to make sure you maintain your bookkeeping going forward. Any other concerns? All right, you guys, this is a great class. All right, next Tuesday, we want to make sure that we are able to analyze and tweak and adjust your budget templates. Refer to your June, July financial statements for inputting your actual versus budget. So we should be able to see actual versus budget by next Tuesday. And I will help you on Thursday if you guys are available. Just let me know when Kyra reaches out if Thursdays or Fridays would work better for your schedule. I think between 60 or 90 minutes would be preferable so we can make sure everyone is, at the same stage. Right?
Thanks so much.
You're more than
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
All right, you guys, we're available and we'll reach out soon.
See you then. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Take
Thank
care.
you. Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, Kyra.
Oh,
You got
okay.
everything right. So if you could reach out to them and see about getting them scheduled for 60 or 90 minute and this Thursday and Friday, please.
Got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.